Hello and welcome, DCP Side Quest episode number 42, Spicy Monday edition.
Ooh,
The utmost spicy.
Monday.
Yes. It's spicy because we're all staying at home to prevent a certain something
You
or
mean
another.
like we always do?
Yeah.
To a game? We've been training for this our whole life.
Yeah,
Right? Life has changed so much.
the governor of California was like, you need to do exactly what you've been doing for the past decade.
Yeah, people be like, how are you coping being at home? I'm like, you mean I this is what I always do. You mean this is not normal? what do you mean? Except for the fact that gyms are now closed, which I'm emotional about, but it
I'm
works.
sad about it too.
Yeah.
My apartment, just on this wall right here, other side of it is the entire apartment's gym. I can't go.
Can't go to it because of social distancing? Oh.
Yeah, like they're like, you can't go use it because we're afraid of it spreading. Legit, it's fine. That's fine. I'm also wanting to just tunnel through the wall right now so I can go have access to it.
Do one of those spy movies where like you climb out your window and you like shimmy along.
Yeah,
yeah, there it is. Yeah, Spy versus Spy.
They've locked the door, but it's drywall in between these. I can get through that. I know how to repair it.
You've been lifting.
Like a little ferret.
Yeah.
Just throw a dumbbell at it and be like, whoopsie.
Well, okay. So the gym inconvenience for me, my biggest inconvenience is my lack of being able to go and get a delicious latte.
Coffee.
Going to a coffee shop, being like, I'll take an expensive ass coffee that I probably shouldn't be buying every day. And it's already saved me money by not having to buy that coffee every day.
What you could do, right? You should set up a little jar in your kitchen and then pay to make your own coffee. So you can.
The problem with this theory is that I'm spending a lot of time buying shit I don't need off the internet.
I can identify.
You know, the other thing that happens when you go to the shops, because obviously now everyone's trying to get things and there's long queues. When you stand in the queue for ages, you start looking around you. And I was like, then you start picking things up for the shelf that you don't even need. You're like, well, I'm standing here for 5 minutes. I picked a pack of sherbet lemons the other day. And because I haven't had them for years. And I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of feel like that. Only when I got home did I realize they were sugar-free sherbet lemons. So basically, it's just the best bit of a sherbet lemon gone. I'm like, what the hell?
Bummer.
I was devastated. I haven't had sherbet lemons for years. I was going to break my diet for it, and they were rubbish.
Freaking pandemic, man. How could you, pandemic? Unbelievable.
Exactly.
By the way, Holtz, welcome to SideQuest.
All right.
Yeah.
Hello. Haven't been able to... I got so many questions when I was at Bungie. They're like, hey, can you be on SideQuest? Surely it should be fine because you're not talking about Destiny. In fact, that's the one thing we don't talk about on there. And it's like, it's at 1 p.m. on a Monday.
When you're working.
I'm working. I can't. Yo, guys, gotta take like an hour off here.
Jump in while you're actually testing.
Just book a meeting room and just be like, oh yeah, I've got a meeting for an hour. Yes.
Every Monday.
Just have a webcam on my desk. It would be fine.
Oh man. Well, we got a lot of games to talk about today. More than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking Animal Crossing Doom Eternal. I was like, that's the show, right? But there's even more beyond that. So let's get to it. How much money is Tom Nook taking from you?
Yeah.
Currently,
what do you owe Tom Nook?
Currently, I owe him 198,000 bells.
Bells.
About halfway to paying that off right now.
Dang. What happens if you don't pay him?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. There's apparently...
So it's like your taxes then?
Yeah. Wait, what? Briar, you shouldn't be admitting that live on air.
It's like eviction notices. It means nothing, right?
What are they going to do? Kick you out? Yeah, like I got my house, and I got my bigger house now because
2 houses?
I got 2 houses. I was given the option to buy another house, and I have no self-control, so I'm going to buy the bigger house.
I don't know you can buy another house. What?
No, just a bigger house.
The bigger. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the bigger version. Yeah, 2 houses. No. Yeah, it's a fun game. This is my first Animal Crossing I've ever played, and
did you play Stardew at all?
Nope, never played Stardew.
Okay.
This is my first like chill out, go do whatever you want to do, man. Game. I feel like the past like 20 years of gaming have prepared me for this game because all that it is, it's investments, upgrading stuff. Like that's all that it is.
Right.
I'm really good at that now.
You've mastered
I was
that.
like, oh shit! You mean all I got to do is like farm money? All right, let's optimize the fun out of this game. And then my first day, I fully paid off my house, bought the second upgrade, fully furnished the museum. And I'm like,
Damn, if only real life actually worked that way. That'd be incredible.
I know.
Yeah.
I
First
I wish
day
I could
owning
pay
a
off
house?
in a day.
Yeah, I'd be like, so we just bought this house for 500. It's paid
Let me go-
off.
let me go-
Crazy.
Let me go. Let me go.
Let's
fish
step
here
it
for a
up
little
to
bit.
the mansion. I'll work a little overtime.
Oh man.
I've clearly come to the conclusion that I'm not very good at paying off my debts at the moment because I'm like, oh well, I could use this money and give it towards paying back my debt,
Mhm.
or I could buy some gym equipment for my new house, and then build a bigger gym. So I'm like, well, that seems like the better idea. I mean, there's no interest on this. He's not going to come and
Yeah.
get me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, let me just until I get to the point where I'm like, there's no room in my house now. I need to pay my debt back so I can get a bigger house to get more gym equipment, which has
Wow.
basically
Interesting.
become my.
Can your
my-
little Animal
I-
Crossing character like get gains from working out?
Yeah, can you get swole?
Unfortunately, not. But I
Disappointing.
have so I've got my little quest because like there's no bald option in character creation, unfortunately. So I found that the best thing to get is like a monk hairpiece, which is like a little ponytail. So I look basically bald. There's a
Okay.
beard I can unlock. And while there's no gains, I've got like a vest on, so my guy looks slightly swole.
Okay.
And he's got like the little training pants on. And the best thing is, right, so you have different types of villagers. And I specifically am trying to recruit as many of these. I've got a gym bro on my village where every time I speak to him, he's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
man, I see you carrying a shovel. Are you doing like dirt lifts?" And he's like, "Oh, you think I'm sitting down? Actually, I'm here training my core."
I'm
And,
doing some ab crunches right now, man.
Yeah, exactly, right. So now I'm like, every time I go to a new, because whenever you go to a new island, you can speak to the villagers and give them an opportunity to come back. And I keep meeting loads of hippies who are like, "Hey man, nature's so cool. I just want to look at nature." I'm like, "No, you're not coming to my village unless you say I want to do dumbbell curls." I'm like, so I basically want to try and fill my village with like gym bros and just be like,
I need people with ambition. Damn it.
"Exactly, man. Unless you think you can curl the house,
Personal
you're not
goals.
coming to my
Come
village."
on.
I like the route you're taking. I've been taking a little bit different route. I've been trying to build a harem.
Okay.
Ah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
you know, it's pretty simple.
Got to pay
It's
that
like
money back somehow, right?
something like that. I don't know. I've just been like,
Pimping it out.
Welcome
it's
to
my
my
island.
village.
I can invite whoever I want.
The one
That's
flaw in
great.
this plan, though.
Yeah,
Is that-
it's been going good.
Yeah, but the one flaw in this plan was I was like, oh right, because I did the part of the game where you have to build 3 houses for people to move into, and the first person moved in. Was the first person that I allowed to move in. But then I logged in the next day, and then he just invited 2 more people to my house. So now I've got some random.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just like, I didn't say you could move into this
Some
house. and you're
freeloaders
not a
showing up
trooper.
on your island?
Yeah,
Wow,
is
squatters'
unacceptable.
rights, man. You got to kick them out quick.
Yeah.
I got some person talking about
Fast.
they want to be a pop star. I'm like, I don't care about your ambitions. That's not good. You can be a pop star on some other island.
Hey man,
No,
can I borrow everything you own? I need to get by a little bit.
No, unacceptable. The game's good though. The game's good. Like, I'm really enjoying it. Like
Yeah.
it's funny because sorry, go on.
Well, I was going
Well,
to say,
what-
so
like-
have you played? Did you play the previous Animal Crossing, and were you a fan of the previous Animal Crossing?
So I played the only one I ever played was New Leaf, was the previous one on 3DS. So 3DS or DS, I can't remember. It's been such a long time. And I had this weird like love-hate relationship with it because it's like I started playing it, and at first I was like, oh, this is all great for the first like 2-3 weeks, and then eventually I exited the Matrix, and then I was like, wait a minute. I am just doing chores. I'm speaking to neighbors that I don't want to speak to.
Yes.
I'm having to pay back debt. I'm like, this is basically real life. What am I doing? At which point, the illusion was broken, and I was like, I hate this game. I'm putting it down.
Well, is this
However-
one different or is it just new?
No, it's the exact same.
No, it's exactly the same. So there's a definite chance that in about 3 weeks, this my love for it may suddenly just like disintegrate, and I'll be like, wait a minute. But at the moment, I'm loving it. It's great. I log on every morning and like I get my new presentation and like what's going on in the village today. I go around and mine my rocks. I cut my wood. I go and do all the things I need to do. I go and check the store so I can buy some new swaggy clothes. And I'm like, yeah, this is great.
New threads? Okay.
Speaking of mining rocks, are you aware of the rock mining strategy?
The 2 holes with the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so it turns out the rocks in this game, it's not like in a bunch of other games, it's like, oh yeah, here is your mining node, and it has like a potential to get like 3 to 5 hits on it to get loot from it.
Okay.
No, in Animal Crossing, it's a time-based thing. That from when you initially hit it, you have 8 seconds to hit it as many times as possible. Problem is, it's a very hard surface, so it knocks your character back. So normally, you're only going to get like 3 to 4 hits in. But if you dig holes around like one side of it, it blocks your character from getting knocked back. And now you can just spam shovel on it, and you can get like 8. You can get the full 8.
This is great, efficient.
Oh,
It's
it's
maximize
so
your
good.
mining efficiency here.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Who
so
knew
good.
that when digging in quarries, you just have to have a hole behind you, and then you're perfectly safe from getting knocked back.
I don't think that's OSHA safe right there.
Not a lot is right now, Brian. Not a lot is.
That's great.
But yeah, no, that I streamed it for the first time last night, and this is my first Animal Crossing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So like I was I didn't even know how to manage my inventory. I was just dropping items and then picking them back up to like reorder them in my inventory.
Yeah.
Because it would create empty spaces. And I found out you can just hold A to drag them around. And then like people were dropping those knowledge bombs, like, oh yeah, dude, dig some holes around where you're mining and you'll get even more. I'm like, oh yeah, man.
Strats.
So these strats are so good. Apparently there's also like lore with some of the characters in Animal Crossing.
Like while you're talking to
Like
animals?
no, like Tom Nook. Like there is a story to Tom Nook's whole thing.
Okay.
Like he used to be super rich, like super rich.
He was like old money and spending all?
And then he lost everything. He
Wow.
lost everything.
Is that why he's a
And
cheapskate now?
Yeah.
No.
No?
So then he worked his way back up. So he's still giving out loans to stuff because he worked his butt off to get to where he is now. But because he went through that bad time, that's why his loans don't have interest.
Oh. So really, Tom
Mm.
Nook is a good guy.
He's
These are 0%
morally
loans?
gray. Morally gray. I
Morally
feel like he's
gray.
chaotic neutral.
Well, he'll give you free money, basically. You got to pay him back, but no interest.
On your own time.
He'll
you know,
never
on your own
come
time.
collecting?
I mean, smart rich people use other people's money. So you're just being a rich person.
I mean, he's not
Yeah.
gonna let you get the best possible house. You still have to work your way up to it. So
Sure,
you get
okay.
to learn how to,
Sure.
do all that yourself. So if anything, he is he's a sink or swim teacher for the most part. Tosses you into the
Okay.
deep end. He's like, all right, you moved out to this island. You're welcome. By the way, you're in debt. Pay it off if you want to live in something other than a tent.
So the joke is that this game is literally doing chores.
Yes.
Is that really what
It's-
it is?
Yes.
Like, can you explain to
Basically,
me
yeah.
like an hour of gameplay, like a gameplay loop for me? Like,
Okay,
I've never
so-
played it. I've seen my kids play it a little bit.
So
I'm not
I
impressed.
I log on. I boot up the game. I boot up the game, like Eric's saying. There's like a little presentation that Tom Nook gives. He's like, "Hey, here's what's new in the village today. We got a museum built, yada yada. So maybe some new people coming in. Okay, there you go. And then you go harvest all the fruit from the island because stuff doesn't like respawn in like a general amount of time. It takes an entire day for it to respawn. So you go harvest your fruit. Go harvest all the rocks for all the stuff. You basically harvest everything that can be harvested. Water the plants, plant some new ones. And then once you've like done all those chores of that you want to do, you can either keep playing by like doing a bunch of other little activities. It's basically farming. You just go around, go to other islands, pick up stuff, go to other people. There's a lot of customization you can do. Like
There's no combat of any kind, right?
excuse me, sir. Have you seen tarantulas in this game? There,
I was going to say, I've seen people like pass out from a tarantula bite.
yeah, tarantulas. They will charge you. They'll see you. They'll charge you, and you get.
So there's
you just
Australia.
Pass out.
Okay.
What do you have, like a gun or like a bazooka or something to kill
No,
them?
you have a net. You capture it and you sell it for money.
The tarantula that's trying to kill you?
Everything in this game is about money. Okay, so
Tom Nook. Got it.
you don't want
Teaching capitalism to the nation's youth.
Yeah.
It's like you could
Welcome
kill
to
that spider.
capitalistic utopia.
You could kill that spider, little Timmy. You could kill that spider. Or you could capture it in a jar and make it pit fight against another spider that you caught earlier and post it on YouTube and get money.
That sounds
Now
fun.
we're talking.
Yeah, I like that.
You can't do that in the game, but
Do you remember that
Expansions.
there used to be a YouTube channel that did just that?
yes.
That was
Really?
awesome.
Spider fights?
Yeah, it was. No, it was like insect
It's
fights. They
in-
put two
insect
insects
fights.
in a jar, and then let them go at it.
Let me guess. It got shut down because somebody was not having it.
I think it was based off a Japanese television show, and like somebody was uploading it, without permission, probably because it was in English.
That sounds familiar, actually. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was good. It was very entertaining.
So, Eric's, would you recommend Animal
Yeah.
Crossing to your typical gamer?
If by typical gamer you mean like I like Call of Duty and I like to shoot people, probably not.
No.
But
Not even as a
You know what?
meditative experience while you're dropping a deuce?
Your deuces are
Here's
going
the
to start
thing,
taking
right?
a while.
It's funny because here's the thing. I was chatting to my friend about this today, and he said this because obviously like the game's reviewed really well. It's like I think it's like 91 on Metacritic or something, which is like crazy for ultimately what is basically a chore simulator. Like it's a great game. I love it. Everything like that. It's like but gameplay wise, it's hardly groundbreaking, right? But it's funny because he was like, well, if you think about it, Death Stranding and Animal Crossing, kind of the same thing. Like you go around, you do chores, you collect things. Yet to some people, they're like, Death Stranding is rubbish, can't stand it. It's like, but then those same people will be like, but I'll happily go and gather from rocks and do this stuff. It's like, it's actually an interesting point. I guess the one thing is that Animal Crossing is very pick up and play. I mean, is the Nintendo way, right? It's very, very easily accessible. Even more so because, I mean, for example, there was like a tweet that went out today. Someone was like, oh, like Stardew Valley, you might work for like, I don't know, ages and ages and ages and get a flower and try and give it to someone. And then she'll turn around and say she doesn't like it. Meanwhile, you just go and pick up some weeds and give it to this kid. And he'll be like, thanks for giving this to me in Animal Crossing. Like this, there's so much more gratitude in this game. So it's very easy to kind of pick up and play and get that enjoyment. So I feel like there's definitely more chance you would enjoy something like this than if you tried to give something like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon to your kind of conventional gamer, right? I think there's definitely some elements in here you can kind of enjoy. Like my friend who wouldn't necessarily normally always play like these kind of games, like he's sort of like jumping in and having like a ton of fun because there's loads of like outfit customization you can do. He's like creating custom, because there's a custom outfit thing in there, so you can create characters and like well-known items and things like that. So there's a lot of kind of cool fun things you can do with it. So I feel like there's to a degree something for everyone.
Okay.
But so I would recommend it. I think it's a cool game. I just don't know whether everyone will play it for like an extended period of time. But the nice thing about it, I think the way that your loop works is that you could quite easily sink a day into it and just play it and do loads of things. But you could also quite easily turn it on in the morning, like run around for an hour, do everything you need to do for that day, because the game works around genuine real time. Like once you've done everything for that day, unless you want to use the time skip method, you genuinely have to wait till the next day. So you could log on in the morning,
That's
play an
interesting.
hour, and be like, I'm done. So it could be like a passive kind of farm thing you could do.
For TCB Run Listen chat said, would you recommend Animal Crossing to my wife, who isn't really a gamer? The closest thing she's gotten is The Sims. If she liked The Sims, I think she would like this. This is a very, it doesn't feel like a game really as much as it's like, here's some stuff to do. Figure out what you like to do, and then
Chore
you can
simulator.
do that to your heart's content.
Some people like chores.
True.
This is a fact.
Yeah,
I wish
so
I
and
married somebody like
if you like
that.
The Sims, I think you'd like Animal Crossing.
Be like, is this room?
Also,
empty?
the other
Oh my god, this is my jam.
the other cool thing about it as well is that it's a game that once you kind of, because once like the initial first like 2-3 weeks of rush through and everyone's kind of completed their houses and filled things up and stuff, like your desire to maybe play it every single day may like diminish a little bit. But the cool thing is, because the game works around a genuine yearly cycle, there are seasons in the thing. There's also like events. It can also be one of those games that you'll come and check back. Like there'll be Christmas events and like Halloween events and things. So it could be like, oh, you know what? I haven't played Animal Crossing for like a couple of weeks. Let me jump back in and do a few things and whatnot. You don't want to leave it for too long, because if you go away for like a year and then come back, like your village will be overgrown with weeds and your villagers will be like, where have you been, man? Like you haven't been, helping out, and they'll kind of get a bit angry at you. So,
Oh, nice. Start a riot. Can you burn the island down?
potentially.
You
Sadly
could-
not, but I have villagers can leave.
Can I burn somebody else's island down?
If you are a friend with them, I'm guessing if you did this right, you could fill your inventory up with campfires and then place a campfire on every single feasible spot in their island or your island. So then you just have an island of fire.
True.
Okay. Interesting.
This doesn't sound like I'm destroying anything. It just sounds like I'm placing campfires all over.
I mean, if you are okay, so Briar, if you're into being a dick,
yes,
so,
that's
yeah.
the point. Yes,
It's Molotov cocktail Briar. Come on now.
you got to
that's
manipulate
exactly
someone
what I'm
into,
into.
you manipulate someone into like being your friend. So if you are like best friends on Animal Crossing, that is the thing. There's a difference between like, acquaintances and best friends. If you're their best friend, you can go to their island. You can pick all their fruit. You can mine all the rocks. You can cut down all the trees.
Come to your island and pick your fruit.
Yeah.
And then
So then
sell
you,
it back
you
to you.
could you could go there
high
and
price.
Sell it back to you.
ruin them.
Freaking ruin a man. My gosh.
Mhm.
Not quite as diabolical as Doom Eternal, but a little bit.
No.
The soundtrack to Doom Eternal does go very well with Animal Crossing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the sound crossing to Animal Crossing goes very well to Doom.
I'd be into that.
That's great. Well, there is another game that came out on that exact same day, and it is demonically hellish inspired Doom Eternal.
Couldn't be any more similar.
It's practically the same game.
Yeah.
Practically.
I think one of my favorite things about Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing coming out on the same day is like normally games would like be competing with each other, but no,
Yeah.
the two communities we're just arm in arm, like, yeah, let's go into this. This is awesome. Like the fan art of like Doom guy coming to Animal Crossing and then like picking flowers. Like,
Yeah, that's great.
There's some awesome crossover fan art between the two.
Yeah, that is good stuff. That's been really entertaining as these two games have been like leading up to release.
Yep. So Doom Eternal.
So Doom Eternal.
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Jinx.
Jinx indeed. I mean, this has been a highly anticipated game ever since 2016. Doom was like, holy crap, this is incredible. Doom Eternal, in my opinion, has doubled down into an incredible experience. Just amazing. Briar, tell me, how far are you, Briar?
I think I've put in around 6 to 7 hours.
Okay.
Just mainlining story. I haven't even been doing like the side dungeons. What are those called? Like the challenge missions?
The gates, Slayer gates.
Yeah, I haven't even been doing those. I've been kind of just saving those for later. And like for some reason, I'm actually interested in the story in this one, which is weird because it starts off and I was like, wait a minute, did I miss a DLC or something? Because what I remember from the old story and how this new story starts off seems to be skipping a beat.
Yeah,
but
they definitely
like,
jump forward.
I kind of caught up. Like there's these like there's these little papers that you can find that kind of fill you in on the lore of the world. And boy, it feels like Doom 2016 right from the get-go, man. You are ripping and tearing. Like you start off with like kind of the standard shotgun, immediately get like a kind of machine gun and just kind of like start building your inventory of destruction from there. It's so smooth. It's so fast. It feels like 2016, but like amplified by 10% as far as like movement speed goes.
Okay.
But then you start being able to traverse like 3D. Like you very quickly unlock like abilities that get you kind of platforming around in like kind of a first person way that
dash, double jump, dashing and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's so far from what I've seen is that's where a lot of the puzzles come from. Is like if you're like, damn, I'm stuck, I don't see where to go. Kind of look up or look at like spaces to kind of cling on to, and a lot of time that's where what you're missing.
Yeah,
it's badass, man. The game runs so smooth too. It's just
it does. Butter. Yeah, the level design, like I think a big thing from 2016 to this game is that like they took all the good parts. They're like, okay, people like what Bethesda was like, or ID Software, not Bethesda, was like, yeah, this is great. People like this. Let's take that, double down, and make it even better. And look at some of the complaints. Some of the complaints in 2016 was the levels felt samey, the kind of like same-ish looking environments and same-ish designs. So they took that and were like, okay, we need some different environments and some, like you said, puzzle-ish solving type of things for the 3D environment with the movement speed and all that. And they did a phenomenal job with it. Every arena that you fight, like like a fight gate point or a checkpoint type of thing, feels very well planned out and very well thought out. Like it's just it's beautifully designed, fantastic, with one problem: those goddamn marauders. Have you fought a marauder yet?
I don't think so.
This
what
guy,
do they look like?
Which one's that again?
he is your they're your opposite. So you are the Doomslayer. The Marauders are like the demon, same version of Doom guy, and
Okay.
they're annoying as hell because they have this super small window to be able to counter, and it doesn't always like knock them back, and like they feel a little buggy. Honestly, it's yeah, and they're like, hey, keep your distance and don't get too far away, and it's like he's always closing in on you, and then throwing a dog, and then throwing a dog again. It's just that guy pisses me off. Everything else has been incredible. I've been playing on Nightmare too, and Nightmare is definitely a challenge. Doom 2016 max difficulty minus the one life was tough, but definitely like, oh, you could see how you can correct certain things. This one, they've definitely doubled down. It's a lot less forgiving on the high difficulty, and there is a one life option as well. Beyond that, I think it's Ultra Nightmare.
Damn.
Ultra Nightmare, holy crap! Someone out there is gonna be ultra crazy and do that, and it's like
People will do it, right? Like,
oh yeah, of course.
absolutely.
They did
If you
the
present a challenge to anyone, they will probably do it.
Yeah, there will be speed runs up of it within the week.
yeah, exactly. But like this one, it's just way less forgiving than 2016. 2016 was already like an intense experience, but with Doom Eternal, like those marauders and the type of things that can happen in the environments, I'm like, man, that is gonna be such a pain in the ass for somebody doing Ultra Nightmare.
There's probably some cheese or something that people will figure out with it. And
When I just looked up a picture, like because I don't know the names of all the demons, and the first hit for Doom Eternal Marauder is how to beat the ultra annoying.
It makes sense now because I hadn't come across them, but then I saw a tweet today from someone that was like, in this modern day and age of patching things and the ability to remove things from games, feel free to remove marauders, and I'll
skill up post
yeah, skill up.
I was like, yes, this game is perfect, except for marauders, man. Screw those guys. Because what happens is it teaches you this momentum and these mechanics of like how you rip and tear. Like the you glory finish to get health back, you chainsaw to get ammo back. There's like this nice
Use
juggle.
a little flamethrower to get the shards
For
of
armor.
armor.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Eventually, you upgrade your super shotgun to when you hook them, it lights them on fire. So you hook forward, light them on fire, kill them, and then you get a bunch of armor. So that's like a great
is
loop.
Incredibly satisfying too.
Mhm. Yes.
Like it feels good.
Yes. Yeah, incredible. So overall, like the combat is just insane. Like super, super fun. And then you hit a marauder and you're like, okay. This guy's a pain in the ass.
So much about this game feels good to play. Like there's the big flying around demons. Are they Keiko demons?
Cacodemons, yeah. I always call them
Yeah.
cacodemons.
When you do your glory kill on that, you grab its eyeball and it makes this like when you pull it out, it makes me giggle every time. I was watching Tafty stream the other night and I was giggling watching him do it.
It's so good. The other thing too is all the glory kills. I think there's like 3 or 4 animations per glory kill.
Yeah, depending on like the angle that you approach him from, it seems to trigger different glory kills. Although I gotta say, because Doom Guy has like a knife now,
Yeah.
I didn't find them to be as entertaining as they were in 2016. Maybe it's like the Mortal Kombat effect where I've seen finishing moves for a bunch of times, so like you got to one up them. But a lot of them I like felt more brutal in 2016 for some reason.
Really?
You're using your fists instead of a knife.
Oh man, these have been pretty brutal. I mean, there's been every now and then one will like catch me off guard and be like, damn. Something with like snapping the bone out and being like right in the face. I'm like,
oh, that was a good one. You like snap his arm,
Yeah.
and then like shove his arm bone into
the head. You're like,
yeah, that was pretty good.
yeah, but well, one of the problems with 2016 is that you'd always see the same animation over and over. And
That's
while
true. You see more in this one.
yeah, you do see the same animations, and that no lie, but there's a rotation that happens and they're all pretty varied. It's not like every time you're just ripping them in half, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And then one of the things I was really impressed by is the environments themselves come into play in combat so much more than I felt like they did in 2016. Whereas like you'll see like red lights around and you'll shoot the red light and it'll trigger something like huge guillotines like swinging through a hallway.
Yeah.
So like ammo is always a concern in this game, right? And like you have the ability to always get more ammo, but sometimes, you know, maybe you're on one end of the hallway, you're shooting down the hallway, you start running out of ammo, you shoot this thing, the guillotines come and kill that big dude that was going to suck up the rest of your ammo. Anyway, splatter them all over the place. It's so satisfying.
Satisfying. It's such a great game. I'm really impressed. I will say though, I agree that they jumped the story because I was expecting it to pick up from 2016, and Samuel Hayden was like the bad guy and being a bitch. You're like, you got to go crack some skulls, you know? But instead, it's like it jumps forward and you have this spaceship. Like, where did I get this spaceship? I'm sure it tells you in the lore, but I'm not one to go and dig in the lore and like deep dive in that stuff.
Yeah, I've just been giving them a read as they pop up. But sometimes the thing is that the action is so kinetic and fun. There's two things that happen to me is I don't want to read those lore bits when they come up. And I kind of like am leaving an area and like briefly looking around like, oh, God damn, look at this skybox. Look at all this shit that was around. I didn't even notice it because I was having like too much fun killing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like really a beautiful game.
And the enemy variety is really impressive because like the knights, the Slayer Knights, there's a bunch of those guys. There's like your basic Slayer Knight, you know, or Demon Knight that shows up and he's kind of a bitch at first. And you're like, how do I take care of this guy? Then you got one that's like got dual blades. And you have to, the quick way to kill him is with a chainsaw with 3 ammo fuels. So you can chainsaw him if you have 3 ammo fuels. And then you get like, I don't remember the full names of these, but you get like the really big pink one that's like full on yoked. Who's, he's like even bigger standing around. And then full on down the road, there's like a mechanized robotic giant version that shows up who's like slow moving and launching missiles at you all while all these other characters are going. It's incredible. It's an amazing combat experience.
One of the early levels is basically you watching the final boss of the level being built like through this like grotesque like machinery. And it's like the entire level is you just kind of like following the path of like how this like thing that you're gonna have to fight is being constructed.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
How's the soundtrack? Does it live up to 2016?
Perfect.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I've
had a couple of them come up on my like playlists, and they've been. I never played 2016. Listened to the soundtrack a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds incredible, man. The soundtrack mixed in with the game, it blends so beautifully because like it's got this menacing sound to it, and it's done in a way where if you appreciate audiophile type of stuff, like it's got such a rich texture to it. Like it's just the right amount of analog distortion across the board on every track where you're like, yes, that sounds incredible. And then like it kicks up with the combat. It's so well done. It's like a masterclass in game audio and music coming together at the same time. It's incredible.
But Teft, interesting, important question. Would you recommend Doom to your average Animal Crossing gamer?
Yes, 100%.
Something's got to wipe all that boredom away.
Without a doubt. Pissed off at Tom Nook? Time to rip and tear.
When you can't pay your debt off and you're like, I just got no more money, man. Then you got to go and get angry.
That's it. Chainsaw.
Here's how you're going to pay back my debt.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really impressed. Like I said, Marauders, those suck. I wish those were balanced differently because they seem just cheap and they slow down the combat. You know, like the things that you learned in the game don't really apply to it at all. Like you shoot them just randomly. It's like it blocks and bolts it, and then you get a dumb dog chasing you that you have to deal with who's insanely quick. Like that's basically my biggest complaint so far is that, and the tie between 2016 and Doom Eternal was just like Fast forward.
Yeah.
Suddenly we have a spaceship and Samuel Hayden is like our bitch. Oh, spoilers.
There was I did find that some of the jumping mechanics don't seem to follow like the rules. Whereas like you have this double jump, but if you bounce off of one of those like bounce pads, you lose the ability to double jump. But if you bounce off of like a wall that you're clinging to, you still have the ability to double jump. So you gotta like learn what takes my ability to jump, what doesn't. Like you learn that over
Yeah.
time, but it's like some things don't follow the same rules.
Yeah, like when grabbing the wall, if you don't dash into it, you have to hit the button to grab it. But if you dash into the
which
wall,
is the melee button, which is kind of weird.
yeah, but if you dash into it, it automatically grabs the wall. That was weird. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
And then the other thing is the UI. I think I got to turn up like the bigness. I got to embiggen my UI because there's so many little like things that are like counting down. Like it's like playing like a MMO or something. Like I've got all these little timers around the screen. Like, all right, I got my dash that's cooling down. I got my my big power punch that's cooling down. Like I got so many. Everything's charging or cooling down all at the same time.
Yeah.
But the game is a masterpiece, though. It's amazing. It looks. I think it might be the most beautiful game I've ever seen, too. Like just technically, like maybe you like the graphical aesthetic of it, or maybe you don't. But just technically, it is impressive.
Yeah, another thing that we didn't mention is the level of detail that happens of where you're shooting enemies and what happens to them with the bullet damage. Like it's impressive. They feel like they feel very fluid. Like you blow an arm off, or you start ripping the flesh off of an arm from the bolts that you're doing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like you're ripping the flesh off of them. You're ripping and tearing.
Yeah, you're ripping and tearing.
What else do we want to talk about today? We got Half-Life Alyx. I want to talk a little bit about the PS5
specs
stuff. Yeah, the specs that came out. You want to do Half-Life Alyx, Eric?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I only played like a little bit, but obviously it came out today. It came out about 3 hours ago.
3 hours. Oh, wow.
Steam.
Okay.
Yeah. What was it, mate? So where are you? Nine maths. Yeah, 3-4 hours ago, basically.
Nice.
So I literally only jumped into the first, say, half an hour, but it looks really, really good. It's interesting because I haven't played too many VR games recently, so I know that I'm interested to sort of see when you get a chance to play it, bro. Because like from what I remember from VR games like back when I was playing before, like it looks to be like one of those sort of definitive VR experiences. Like I remember for me a lot of the time, a lot of VR games I played in the past, they still had that distinct kind of alpha sort of tech demo feel to them. Like they might have some cool elements to them, but they definitely still never felt like fully fledged experiences. I stepped into this and it's like, this looks like a AAA game. Like as soon as you walk out the balcony, you just see the kind of, this is almost what you kind of expect. Like if you what was that film? I'm trying to remember the film recently, the one that the sort of like gamer focused one with like the headset and like they're in this.
Oh, Ready Player One.
That's it. Yeah. Like genuinely, like the look and feel of the city. Like as soon as you step out, you kind of got that vibe, and it was really really cool. It definitely like took me a little bit of adjusting because like I'm normally pretty good at VR games. This one definitely made me feel like dizzy and kind of gave me sort of like motion sickness. But I think the only reason for that is because there's different movement options. So because of this one, like it's got I don't know what the kind of the typical standard is for like VR, but there's the option to like teleport to wherever you're looking, which is obviously good for just like you in the camera seat. Because I was recording a video, I thought it would be more enjoyable for the player to have continual movement, which is quite weird because when you're standing still but your character's moving, it's super dizzying.
Yeah, that takes a while to get used to.
Yeah, but I feel like almost because you don't have to actively walk around. I could probably play the game sitting in a seat. I played it standing up, but I could, like, if I wanted to have that, I could probably play it sitting down. But I mean, it was really cool. Like in the very first like half an hour, you kind of go through the process of you get your sort of little gloves that you can use for the gravity motion. You get your kind of your gun. You like go around and sort of solve some puzzles and stuff. So. I mean, looks really cool. I'm definitely super early on, so I can't really say much about like the game as a whole. Like it reviewed really, really well. Like there's a lot of like 5 out of 5s, 10 out of 10s. Hearing a lot of people sort of saying it's going to become like one of the definitive VR experiences. Even though my camera froze, but you know what? I'm going to carry on anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely impressed. Like, definitely from a visual point of view, it is probably one of the first times I've stepped into a VR game and been like, wow, looks really cool. So yeah.
Nice.
I want to get into it really bad. Half-Life 2 was kind of the, I don't know, was the game that really made me start like kind of tinkering, getting under the hood of games. I started modding because of that. I started getting into mapping and stuff. And so like just having that like Half-Life pedigree is like makes me want to go play it.
Yeah.
But man, like getting a VR setup is really expensive, and
Yeah.
no, I
Well,
can't justify that.
Eric, so you've been using the Rift S, right? Which is the newer version or the newer Oculus that is
Yes.
tied to your computer.
Yeah. So yeah, I was actually quite. I mean, yeah, because when we were looking at kind of trying to potentially cover it, I was I looked at like the prospect of the Valve Index is nice, like with the whole sort of finger tracking controller. But I was like, that was in the UK for me, that's like £1,000. I'm just like,
Yeah, that's same
not,
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's not happening. So we looked at like the Rift
The
S.
library is super limited too, so like you're basically playing 1 or 2 games for $1,000, right?
Exactly right. And I'm
Well, no,
like,
that works with all the previous stuff too.
Yeah, but
okay.
like there's not a whole lot of like marquee titles for VR yet.
Yeah, and probably not that many that are going to need like finger controllers as well. So I was like, I'm not about to spend £1,000 to play Half-Life Alyx, but I was like conversely, the Rift S was about £300, which like obviously still to play one game is a lot, but like at least I know that I'll get the use out of it and I can kind of use it with everything, and it's it's still fine for everything you need. So in terms of and I mean I have no means of comparison. I don't really know what the Valve Index would offer in kind of gameplay that I can't already get from my Rift S. So, but it was great. Yeah, I mean, it was a really good experience. And I mean, like, considering the last time that I did some VR was like Gen 1 Oculus headset, where I had to like set up the annoying sensors and stuff. Like the fact that I just
terrible.
it used to be annoying because I'd measure up my room and it's like, this is the space you need. I'm like, okay, I've got this space. Then I try to set it up and it's like, you don't have enough space. I'm like, I clearly do. So whereas this one, it was great. I just put it on, marked my area, and it's like, yep, cool, have fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that original Oculus was awful. It came with cameras that you had to point at yourself, and the cameras all ran off USB, and they took a lot of bandwidth because they were cameras.
Yeah,
and your computer couldn't necessarily take that. Personally, I had to buy another USB PCI card so that I could run all this stuff. I ended up just returning the Oculus. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go get a Valve or a HTC Vive.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for that game, man. That game looks insane. Half-Life is obviously huge. A lot of people are saying this is this feels like a sequel to Half-Life, right? This feels like a Half-Life game. It's a shame that it's VR because less people would be able to play it.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm coming to it from an interesting point of view because I've never really, I have never played a Half-Life game. So and kind of one of those sort of like blasphemous things, but like Half-Life has never really appealed to me. So I'm like, people always been like, oh, you need to play Half-Life 1 and 2, but I'm just like, to look back at it, I mean, I know I appreciate it for what it did at the time, and I appreciate everything that it has done, and same way as like looking at Final Fantasy 7, like I missed it when it came out, but I'm like, I appreciate what it did, but I'm just like, I wouldn't now go back and play that. I'll wait for like the version. So I'm glad that I'm getting some kind of Half-Life experience now. Maybe it's not the same experience that everyone else had before, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to. I want to fine tune the playing experience because I can see myself wanting to play more of it, but I definitely need to find a way that isn't going to make me feel like I'm going to be sick.
Yeah,
that is one of the big
warping
problems.
Usually is helpful with that. Instead of like trying to use the smooth motion, like where you just walk like you would in an FPS game. The warping can help tremendously with that, and then you can kind of like they call it VR legs, where you can kind of work your way up to smooth motion. And then there's other ways, some people have success by having a fan blowing on them.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Some people have success by chewing on some ginger to keep like nausea at bay, which is telling about the current state of VR.
Yeah. Part of me was like, wait, are you just starting to make things up to see if I'm going to believe you? But I was like,
no. Yeah. Oh, these are real.
The thing is, I think for me, like, I would definitely be interested to play it at CT because I remember one of the games that I was quite surprised that it made me feel that way because I used to play when PSVR came out. Do you remember a game called Riggs?
Yeah.
It was like the mech one, and that was like
Yeah.
the mech sport game, and you move super fast in that. But I love that. I could play that for like an hour, and I just feel fine. But I remember I
Yeah.
used to play that sitting down, so that's probably what it was.
Yeah. You know
So-
what my big one is that I was playing a lot of VR. I played Skyrim in VR, and there was a part like the first time I came to a hill and I had to walk down the hill. I'm like, nope, this doesn't work. Like, I feel like I'm falling. Like I'm getting real nauseous. Like walking on a flat plane, okay. Going down a hill, that felt super fucked up.
That's interesting. Oh.
I haven't done a lot of VR stuff. Like when I remember when we were at PlayStation Experience one year, they had a bunch of the stuff you could demo, and like when it was on rails, it was fine. When it was in like a starship, I have no idea what flying around a starship feels like. It was
Yeah.
fine, but when it came to doing a racing game, that's where it started messing with me because I was sitting in
Like
a
a
seat-
car racing game?
Yeah, like a car racing game. I was sitting in a seat, had the steering wheel. Second I hit my first turn at high speed, my body was expecting to feel like myself getting
Oh.
pushed. And it didn't happen.
okay.
I was like, oh no.
It sucks too.
was
That feeling doesn't
rough.
go away like when you take off the headset. It sticks with you.
I don't know. Until like I guess that's something you can get used to, but yeah, it's rough. I'm wondering if like if someone plays Half-Life Alyx and like they do the teleporting to move, like where you select where you want to go and you teleport, like someone does that enough, it's going to be kind of a similar like Tetris effect where the only way they can feel like they can move now is like by looking at something and pointing at it.
I played all of Resident Evil 7 like that in the
Yeah.
PlayStation VR headset. It was a really good experience.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't like because when I started my playthrough doing that, and like I felt alright because it almost kind of, even though that wasn't exactly how you moved, it kind of reminded me of playing things like Myst and Riven to a degree. But I was
Yeah.
just worried. I was more conscious that I was like, because I was recording a video, I was like, would that be jarring for someone to watch? Like, just like teleport. Because for me, I don't know. Because again, I didn't know how it transpired in the gameplay. But like for me in the headset, there was like a marginal black blink every time I did it, and I was like, well, it's fine for me. But I was like, if someone's watching that on YouTube, is that going to be annoying? So I tried to, that's why I opted for the smooth motion thing.
Having watched a bunch of the teleporting gameplay, it looks fine. Like I can view it. It just the only thing that sucks is like I just look at it and go, man, I wish there was another way to move around. Like it's no motion sickness or anything. It's just, oh man, I wish it wasn't teleporting to move around. It just doesn't look like it's there yet to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The smooth motion is a better viewing experience, but you got to be careful when you're recording gameplay of any kind with VR, because if you're moving your head all around fast, your viewers can get nauseous.
That's true. Yeah.
I've actually
I forgot as well, like how. Okay, sorry.
I've been wondering if Doom Eternal is making people nauseous, because if you play it with mouse and keyboard and you're going as fast as possible, it's like extremely hectic. I wonder if this has made people nauseous playing the game.
I had to turn up my mouse sensitivity, not my mouse sensitivity, but like the speed of my mouse in that game. I had to turn up like compared to other first person shooters I play on PC.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually I have it set so that I can go like a full swipe across my mousing surface. Is like a 180-degree turn in game.
Right.
But like there's just so much shit going on in that game that I just turned it up. I'm like, I just need to be able to move faster.
Yeah. You have to move a lot. Do you think I'm really apprehensive with jumping into any kind of VR setup, because I don't know yet if it's truly going to be something that I want, or the games. Like I said, there's no true marquee game yet. Maybe Half-Life Alyx is one of these. But do you think the next gen hardware is going to change that significantly?
The next gen hardware is here. This is we have the next gen hardware. I don't expect new hardware for a long time. So
you don't think the PS5 or Xbox Series X is going to affect what we get?
The PS5 will probably have a new headset, but not at launch.
But you see, that's what I'm thinking. Like, do you think those are going to be, that hardware is going to usher in the ability to have like a even more fleshed out stuff? Or like you said, maybe it's already here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be better than what we got on PC now.
Yeah.
No.
I honestly feel like it's still going to be. I think it's still, even with the technology, I still feel like it's just a long way away from VR being like universally accepted. Like it's still the barrier to entry is still just so high. So I feel like until it becomes, because the thing is, there are better experiences now, but it's like I sort of mentioned before. I still feel like a lot of the time, not necessarily all of them, and obviously I haven't played anywhere near as much as say Briar has, for example. So I could be, my information could be massively outdated, but the last time I did VR, I just felt like I would jump into experiences, but they'd all be experiences I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this for half an hour, kind of cool, but I'd never be like and I know you might not for the same way, but I never felt like there was a game that I was like, I'm gonna sit down and play this for hours. It always felt like here's a demo of what we can do. And I feel like until they make it a lot more easily accessible, I don't know how you go about doing that, but until they do that, until people suddenly start making it the staple thing, I feel like VR is always going to be like this just niche extra thing.
Animal Crossing in VR.
Done it. So
go do chores in VR.
I've had a little bit of a different experience. Like I played all the way through Resident Evil 7 in it, and I feel like Resident Evil 7 is a VR game in my head. Like when I think of Resident Evil 7, I think of it in VR. Like that's just how I experienced it. Super Hot, I still say, is one of the best experiences I've ever had video gaming. Like it's just that freaking good. And playing it, like contorting your body to be like bullet time, like the Matrix, avoiding bullets is just so freaking fun. And then No Man's Sky in VR was one of the best things I've ever experienced in my life. Sitting in my ship, grabbing the joystick, pushing that throttle forward, taking off and going up into space in what felt like a real cockpit. Like, like looking around and looking like having a dogfight, and I'm like tracking people like that, Driving games I find incredibly more fun because when you're driving a car, you're not looking straight ahead when you're making a turn. You're looking at the corner. It just feels cool. It feels more immersive. I can't wait for Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, I mean it's expensive and it doesn't always work the way you want it to. There's some heavy, hardcore jank involved in getting it set up and getting it working right. Even if you have a high-end PC, you still run into problems where you got to make things just work the way you want it to. It's not just gonna.
I'll be honest,
man. It is a fun experience.
I'll be honest. The No Man's Sky thing that you just talked about does make me want to play it.
That was sick, man. That last summer I was playing that, and it's hard to describe it to people because they've played No Man's Sky, so they know No Man's Sky, but it's a different experience when you're walking around pointing your mining laser at things, when you hit your jetpack and you're floating around, not just looking at your character on the screen, and then you walk up to your ship, you get in your ship, and you literally sit back in your chair, push the throttle forward, and just fly off a fucking planet, man. Holy shit. That's living in the future. It's got a long way to go, but it is cool. Most of the people I know who have jumped in are like what they played. It's not their only. Nobody I know is only playing VR though.
Right? Yeah. Cool.
Like Doom. Who'd want to miss out on Doom just because it's not in VR?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do we have time to talk about the PS5?
Yeah. So PS5 specs, right?
Cool.
Mark Cerny gave it was supposed to be a GDC talk.
Did you guys watch that?
No.
That was rough. That was rough. Just before you get, because I was I'm sure you can go over the spec stuff because I that went over my head, right? But I'm just my question going out of that presentation was who is this for? Because 99% of the gaming audience, I like to think I know tech relatively well. That went over my head, right? And I was like,
oh man,
I'm just that's the kind of thing that you send to developers as an internal, download this document to understand what the
internal
PS5
memo.
can do. Oh, cool. Yeah, not hey, let's broadcast this to the world where 99% of people will be sorry, what? What are you going to show? And I thought to myself, you know what? Surely, right? After 15 minutes of this, we're not going to get gameplay. That's cool. I understand that. I was surely they're just going to at least say, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
No. Nothing.
Or show the box. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm just you what?
It was clearly they had this talk planned for GDC. GDC got canceled. They did not modify this talk in any way.
So weird.
Also, that wasn't a real crowd, was it? That was not a real crowd.
No, there was no crowd there. That was just him.
They put a weird
that was so weird.
They decided to put a fake crowd in there, but didn't modify the talk. Huh?
It was
Where was
it
this,
was hard to
where was this
watch,
done?
man. Like,
was this just like a presentation that was streamed?
Yeah,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was meant to feel like it was in front of a crowd, you know, like there were heads, like there were shadows of heads, like Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Hugo Rune in chat said it looked like Dana Carvey reading a bedtime story to a bunch of nerds. That's
Like,
yeah.
I love Mark Cerny. He does like amazing things, but like if you compare this to how Microsoft like kind of released all their stuff, and they said, let's get some YouTubers who know how to make things entertaining, right?
Yeah.
Let's get them out here. They'll do our heavy lifting for us, right? Like I think that was a wise approach.
Yeah, it feels
In retrospect.
it feels really tone deaf, like how they've been handling it, because people are chomping at the bit for PS5 information. They want to know what it
Yeah.
looks like. You know, obviously they wanted specs, but they want the fun specs, the cool specs, not how you're going to break down 3D audio. Like, hey, I love audio, but 3D audio, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. You know, that's cool and
Like
stuff.
the last thing he talked about was how like he's gonna let people take pictures of their ears and send them in.
Yeah,
so
what?
like I remember
Also-
like, is that it? Wait, what is this over?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, half the stuff as well, he made it realize that like the presentation was pointless because half the time he'd be like, oh, there's these really complicated things that developers can do, but you don't have to worry about that because it just does it for you. I'm like, then why are you telling me? Why does anybody care?
It was, I agree with you, Eric. I think that should have just been like that same presentation. They could have just like emailed it to like all the developers, right? And it would have been great,
Yeah.
you know, like, hey, get developers really excited about it. There's been articles how developers are really excited about the PS5. They can't wait to get their hands on it. That's awesome. But as like a consumer facing like press release,
The first major
It was
time
weird.
you're talking about it, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
did they
Super
say the
weird.
price of it at all?
No, so the no price,
No,
no look,
nothing.
and also the specs are like technically less than what the Xbox Series X does. It does
Yeah.
have a really high bandwidth hard drive to CPU RAM type of architecture set up for it. So like they're saying like the whole hard drive is essentially going to be like your RAM.
that was weird though too, because they talked about last summer that they're going to have a faster hard drive or faster SSDs than PCs, and then like apparently in the meantime, PCI Gen 4 was released, so they're like, well, that's not true anymore.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's actually what we were talking about was PCI Gen 4.
Well,
Well,
no, it's like
crap.
somewhere in between 3 and 4 because it's not as fast as 4.
Right,
But
4
it's
goes up to
faster than 3.
7 gigabit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good news is you just be able to buy an NVMe drive, plug it into your
Yeah.
PS4 as
True.
external storage.
Yeah.
That's cool, but you have to get like a Sony approved one.
Yeah. So pound for pound, it does look like the Xbox Series X is going to be a more powerful machine, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
It's technically going to have 2 more teraflops of throughput. So you're looking at 10 teraflops for the PS5, rough estimate ish, versus 12 teraflops. And that's like the difference between a 1080 Ti and like a 2080 Ti, right? Ish.
Geez, man. I don't know.
Somewhere around there. There's also like 50 something CUDA cores in the Xbox Series X versus like
What?
30 something in the PS5. So
Yeah, but it's not directly relatable because the ones in the PS5 are clocked at a higher speed. So it's not really apples to apple.
yeah, still though,
You know what I care about?
Yeah.
You know what I care about at the end of the day?
What's that?
the games,
What games?
right?
Yep.
Which they didn't talk about at all.
Like I genuinely don't give a shit about like this one has more teraflops.
See, I do care because when I get the games, I want them to run well, you know.
Yeah,
And I like
same.
when we finally get Destiny 3, I want it to run at 4K 60 frames per second, and I want to make sure that my Xbox and my PS5 are capable of doing that. So I am curious about what the specs are going to be, and when we get a generational leap in power for the consoles, we often see a big leap in
Yeah.
graphics and power and detail levels on PC. So like
Yeah.
it just every game gets better when we see, these
Yeah,
leaps. So I'm really into it.
That's how I look at it. And like what it's looking like is that if it's a third party title, Xbox Series X is probably going to be the best console to play it on. But if obviously the exclusives on PS5 are going to be stellar, and they're going to take advantage of the technology of the whole hard drive feeling like RAM or whatever. So
my guess is that it won't be a big enough difference that if all your friends are on PS5, you're not going to be missing out on anything just because you didn't buy an Xbox, except for Xbox exclusives. You know, like maybe you'll get instead of 4K native rendering, you're getting 1800p. But ultimately, the game's going to look stupendous, and if it runs at 60 FPS, I think that's going to be the generational leap here. Is 60 FPS.
Everything 60 FPS or higher.
And some games, if they're low visual fidelity games, we can even see 120 FPS, and that is awesome.
My hope is that with all the optimization for console, that they're able to get a lot of games at 120. Imagine Destiny 2 right now in 4K at 120 with heavy optimization for the hardware. Because if you remove the operating system layer to taking up that 10% and the layering on there and have direct access to hardware, you could potentially see some serious gains for all that processing.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about the Xbox was that their real commitment to backward compatibility, and then the PS5, they said, well, there will be about 100 PS4 games that are compatible with the PS5.
One of those better be Bloodborne.
Better. Or I swear to God.
I sound far away because I have a cat sleeping on me now, and he just made himself really comfortable. I want Bloodborne at not shitty FPS, please.
Yeah. People keep talking about Bloodborne coming to PC. I'd love to see that happen. I would definitely play through Bloodborne again. If
Sony ain't gonna let that happen.
See it happen. Because I want to see it happen. Because I want to see the Sony fanboys cry again.
That would be great.
When it was Horizon, they were like, "No, man."
Can we talk about that? That was amazing.
Yeah, there were so many people as well on when they announced the stream for the PS5 thing. They were like, "Sony, I don't think I've forgiven you yet, man. Until you pull back Horizon, I'm not even gonna tune in." It's like, all right, man, cool.
Right,
give us Bloodborne, give us God of War. Watch the Sony ponies cry. I'm gonna love it.
It's so funny to be upset over a company allowing a game to be played by more people. It's like, huh?
Yeah. The reaction though was violent. There were videos of people smashing their PS4s and giving an FU to Sony. They're so violent about it. They were
some people have
upset.
too much free time.
I'm pretty sure some of those were memes though.
I think there were a couple of them, but still, it's just. But the general consensus is how does anybody getting to play your game remove from your experience? Huh?
Well, there's some sort of identity associated with I have access to this and you don't unless you also pay the money that I paid for this console.
That's not healthy. The brand does not care about you. They only care about you paying money to them. Continuing on, if you feel loyalty toward a corporation, you need to assess your value system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's so weird, man. So weird to see that reaction. I can't wait for people to experience Horizon Zero Dawn on PC because that game was awesome.
I think it's gonna be better on PC with mouse and keyboard control for the bow.
60 FPS.
Oh my God,
or higher.
You're gonna be a monster.
Yeah, it's 30 FPS on PS4 Pro.
Yeah, the game looked fantastic on PS4 Pro. It really did.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll replay it on PC, but if they redid Bloodborne for PC, I definitely would.
They're not gonna do that. Sony knows.
Look, they need to do it. I want it.
It's not going to happen, man. They're they know how many consoles they sold just because of Bloodborne. And they're like, well, clearly this is going to continue. So we're going to keep it.
Yeah, but they could get more for selling it on PC.
They could be clever. They could be like, well, we'll put it on PC, so even more people like Bloodborne. But then we'll only release Bloodborne 2 on PS5.
There you go. That's the marketing genius right there.
That is actually.
I hate you. I hate you for it, but
it's true.
It's good.
That is good.
Also, Bloodborne 2 is not happening. It's not
confirmed.
Fuck you, man.
That story is self-contained. It's self-contained. It's tied up. If it's gonna be another Bloodborne, it's gonna be some other parallel universe or some other time or something. It's gonna be Bloodborne Eternal, Bloodborne dark and pulp. I don't know.
I want a Bloodborne 2 bad. Like, I can't wait. That's how I felt about Horizon Zero Dawn, and I know they're making a sequel to that. I didn't even think that game needed a DLC. I thought the story ended in the perfect spot.
Did you not have the cliffhanger at the end?
That cliffhanger, what I cared about in that story was completely wrapped up.
Okay,
We're still
Briar.
talking about Bloodborne.
No, we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. At the end, they totally
didn't
left you with the
care
cliffhanger.
A single side character in that show, including the guy with the cliffhanger. Like, I just didn't care.
You didn't care about
the
Lance
only thing
Reddick's character?
The only thing I cared. No, I didn't. The only thing I cared about was, like, how did this happen? What's going on? Like, what is the big question that is being revealed?
Briar,
The Lance Reddick's character, I really found him annoying, and like, I just want him to go away.
I don't believe you played the game, Briar.
All right, that's fine.
Oh man, that's crazy.
All right, should we wrap this up?
I think
Do
we gotta
wanna
wrap it
talk
up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. We'll talk about more next week.
Yeah,
There's
this-
always another episode.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll be back here same time next week because they were being enforced, but
Yep.
we have to by the government.
We've got nothing better to do.
And we know you'll be here as well.
Exactly. Well, episode 42 of SideQuest. SideQuest complete.
Ba-ding.
Bling, bing. Awesome. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. Catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. And in terms of YouTube stuff, I've been doing music things. If you search Tefty and Memes on YouTube, you'll see 4K music.
I've been really
related videos.
enjoying that.
Thanks, man. They've been a lot of fun to make.
I always like seeing them pop up in my feed.
Nice. Holtz, where can people find you, man?
You can find you can find me on
let's do it.
Twitter at Holtzman _YT. Holtzman is HOLTZMANN. There are 2 N's in that.
Double N.
And then from there, you can find my YouTube link. You can find my Twitch link, where I'm posting videos like why I love swords in Destiny and a bunch of Destiny content because I need to pay rent because our apartment still hasn't canceled rent payments.
I'm waiting for
Yeah,
my
I've been
house
thinking,
to cancel
should I
rent
call
payment.
I rent out a house, right? Like, do you think I should call my renters and be like, hey, if we need to, we should work something out? Or do you think I should
Yeah,
just wait for
you
them
should
to
be
call me?
you should be cool. You should be cool guy.
You should definitely be cool
Brian, you
about
should-
it.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
should
don't
be
want
like,
them to take advantage, though, you know? Like, oh, the landlord just called, like, offering for 50% off of rent. Like, obviously, I'm going to take him up on it. Even if
Score!
there's no financial difficulty whatsoever.
I think you should call him and be like, hey, yo, like, 50% off, whatever. Or just be like, hey, if you're going through something, let's talk. We'll work it out.
Yeah, I think that might be the
cool guy.
idea.
Yeah.
Be the cool
I
It'd be
think
like
that's the way
next
I'll go.
month's rent. You can pay it 50% cash, 50%
Next
toilet rolls.
month's rent is doubled.
You can pay it in bells.
Baba needs a new toilet paper fort, goddammit.
I'm adding interest onto your rent. 29%.
There you go. There you go. If you guys want to find me, you can find me over on Twitter at Arix or YouTube, same place, either on Arix Gaming or on Video Games. Going to be working on some stuff this week for those that want to make games at home. Yeah, I've been putting together a at-home workout that I'll put people through their paces. So stay tuned for that.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me listening to the Castlevania 4 soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh,
Look at it. It's got the map
Oh,
inside the cover art. I had to show it to justify the purchase. Sorry.
God. I am
it's
so
a business
jealous.
expense now. It's a business expense.
Yeah, right?
I want that, man. That's cool. Well, that's the show. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate all the support. Firing Range will be on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, and then DCP Prime talking about Destiny Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching live or on YouTube or on the Spotify, various podcast indications. And shout out to all our Twitch subs and Patreon members. Appreciate making the show happen for us, guys. We'll see you next time for another show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.